Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything Iconic with me, Danny Pellegrino. Today, we have a very special guest from the Real Housewives of Dallas, Dr. Tiffany Moon. Dr. Moon, how are you today?
Good, Danny. How are you?
I'm so excited to chat with you. I think we were talking on Twitter a little bit, and I was laughing this morning thinking how Twitter seems to have come up with all these names for your fans, like moonbeams and all these sorts of different things. What's the official title? Do we have that yet?
I think it's moonbeams.
Okay.
It's hashtag moonbeams because I saw a couple of others that was like hashtag Team Tiffany, but I think moonbeams is really cute. And I don't know who to give credit to. I don't know who came up with that. It wasn't me.
You know, it was a collective Bravo effort. We'll just say that. How about?
Okay. But you get credit for Moonstruck.
Right. I was moonstruck from you from the start. One of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes.
Okay, so how's it been your first season? Are you enjoying the ride? What's it like being sort of thrust into this Bravo world?
If I could describe it in one word, it would be overwhelming.
Right.
It's a lot. I am still working my job as an anesthesiologist, and I have young children, which a lot of other women do as well. But it's just managing the schedule and dealing with all of the comments on social media and trying to reply back to everyone. It's a lot of work. Like, I wish I could clone myself so that one of me could go be a doctor and one of me could do all the housewife things.
Right. Yeah. When you decided to join the show, was that pre-pandemic when you sort of made the decision? Okay, so then the pandemic happens. You're an anesthesiologist. Were you hesitant then, or what was going through your mind knowing that you would now have to film in the midst of this?
Yeah, I found out and started talking to the producers in 2019 about being on the show. And then we were supposed to start filming in spring of 2020, which is always how it's been. And that is right when coronavirus hit. And so we had to put a halt on everything. The production company was like, we don't even know if we're going to shoot season 5 or when it's going to be. So it kept it was like a moving. And then finally, when we understood things a little bit better and we had the safety protocols in place, then they sent it out to everyone and we read through it all, and it seemed very organized and everything was according to the CDC guidelines. And I thought, okay, I think we can safely do this. And to our testament, we did, because we did our entire filming and not one person got sick.
That's amazing. I know I had a lot of questions for you about that because I find it kind of distracting on watching the show and seeing there be so many different sort of PPE rules. And it's like sometimes people are wearing the face shield. And I wondered, as a medical professional, like what your thoughts on all that was, because it seems scene to scene, everything is different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there were some changes in the protocol between face masks and face shields. We did try to socially distance as much as we could, and we didn't see anybody else except ourselves. And we would basically have all of our PPE on until the moment that we were ready to start filming, and then we would take it off. And sometimes we would wear face shields instead of masks because you can't tell people's facial expressions when they're wearing masks. And so it was partially so that people could see us.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's definitely, we need to see your expressions. What about when Brandy went off to Florida? So did she have to come back and not film for a couple weeks, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. She missed my dim sum because of Florida. And then I think when she got all her tests negative, then they let her come to Carrie's party, but only like in her full gear the entire time.
What did you watch the show before joining it? Had you seen the previous seasons?
I had seen many episodes of Dallas. I saw all of season 4 and probably most of 3, but none of the other franchises.
So were you nervous just seeing what had happened before? Like, were you more excited, more nervous? Like, what was going through your head when you're meeting all of these women in person?
I mean, I was a little bit nervous just because as the new person to a group that's already established, you're sort of, everyone's looking at you. But I was also excited because I'm friends with a lot of these women off camera and they're great women. And, I was looking forward to traveling and going to fun events with them and just letting my hair down and having some fun.
It's interesting in the last week's episode, you had talked a little bit about how you wanted to let loose a little bit more. And I related to that so much. I look back on some of my college years and my 20s, and I think I wish I would have had a little bit more fun or been a little bit looser. I appreciated that. Was there a pressure to kind of let loose a little bit? We saw Carrie really was like trying to get you to drink alcohol and the booze was flowing. Did you feel a pressure or were you kind of excited to take on that role?
Yeah, I mean, it was her birthday. So certainly I was down to take, a birthday shot with the birthday girl, but this was not a one-shot situation. I don't know if it comes across to the viewers, but this was like multiple rounds. And, after two, and I'm politely declining, and I've already done two. So I've sort of, been the polite guest. I don't want any more. I had to work that day and I had to work the day following. So I was just trying to be responsible while at the same time being there to celebrate my friend's birthday. I'm trying to balance all the things. So that's why I was hesitant to take more and had to spit some out and do what I call the over the shoulder shot, which is when you pretend to take it and, exactly. See,
I've done that a time or two.
I'm like,
I went to Mexico with my brother and some of his friends years ago, and they were big drinkers, and it's I couldn't keep up, and I knew I couldn't keep up, so I was constantly doing the thing. Where are you and Carrie at now? How are you guys getting along? What's the deal with you and Carrie?
I was ready to bury the hatchet. We didn't start off on the right foot, but then actually you will see in future episodes that we actually have a touching moment. She has problems reconnecting with her mom. I have problems connecting with my mom. We are both struggling with that. And we actually bond later on in the season. But I think it's so weird in real life when you look at things that have been said about you months prior. And then you have social media, right? Which is always, crazy. And she came out on social media and called me a snake. That was just put out there. And we can talk, we can disagree, all those sorts of things. But when you go on social media publicly and call me a snake, I'm not going to take kindly to that.
Right.
So I think that then instigated a number of mean tweets back and forth, which we are both guilty of, that have now left us in a sour place that I hope we can recover from.
Right. And what about you and Cam? On the show, we saw you guys, there's this whole chicken foot debacle. When you watched it back, did you feel at the eating of the chicken foot, did you feel like you were maybe pushing her out of her comfort zone, or did you feel like that was justified in terms of trying to get her to try something new?
Yeah, no, when I watched the episode back, it is very clear to me that I was overly enthusiastic for her to try a chicken foot, which is true. I just thought it would be hilarious if Cameron Westcott ate a chicken foot. I don't know why I had it in my head that would just have been the funniest meme of all time. And yes, I was trying to push her out of her comfort zone. I'm out of my comfort zone. I want her to go out of her comfort zone. I want all of us to go out of our comfort zone in some ways. And I know that some people were like, oh my gosh, you were so pushy. That's so rude. Feet are disgusting. I wouldn't eat that either. And I'm like, that's fine. But please don't start gagging and asking for a barf bag when the food that I'm presenting you comes out. There's a way to politely decline.
Right.
And there's a way to not so politely decline. So I just felt a little bit insulted at the manner in which she acted during the whole chicken foot gate.
Right. And, there was a moment on Watch What Happens Live recently that Cam had sort of, I don't want to misspeak for her, but a lot of Bravo watchers kind of picked up on it. She said, I believe the word was bossy. I don't want to misspeak. Did you see that?
She said that.
So what were your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people felt like there was the meaning behind what she was saying was inappropriate. And again, I didn't see the clip, but a lot of people had written to me to ask you this.
Okay.
What were your thoughts on that?
I did not watch that segment specifically. I think I fell asleep, but I did watch it later. If that's past my bedtime. She did call me bossy. That is true. And I, in general, even before she used the word bossy, have always not liked that term because I think it has a negative connotation to it. I think it's particularly used against strong, ambitious women. Have you ever heard a man be called bossy? I haven't. It's used when strong, ambitious women sort of take charge of a situation or give orders, and it's sort of like to put them down or put them in their place. And I don't like it. We do not use that word in my house. So it's sort of a trigger word for me. She did call me that. It's fine. We've talked about it. It's really water under the bridge for me. And things like this that happen, it's almost good because then we can at least talk about it. So we can have a conversation about it. Why do you not like the word bossy? Why do you think it's such a loaded term? Blah, blah, blah. At least we can have a conversation about it.
Right. Speaking of conversations, your very first episode, you came in and I sort of felt like as a viewer, it must have been, excuse my language, but shitty to come in this new job. And it almost felt like the cast and the audience was looking at you to respond to Brandy's, the video that Brandy had made that had been all over social media. And I felt like it must have been frustrating to come in and have to deal with that right off the bat. And there must have been a pressure because I don't know if I was just feeling that way, but it looked like everyone was looking to you to like absolve Brandy of this video in this moment. What was your opinion on that?
Yeah, that was hard coming in. The first episode, I'm having a serious conversation with someone about racism, which is a very charged and very emotional topic for me and for our country right now. So there was a lot of weight on my shoulders. I was cast before the video resurfaced. So I had nothing to do with the video. And then the video came out and all the mean tweets and cancel Brandy and all that stuff. And I feel like in some ways, people were either waiting for me to absolve her, and then other people texted me on social media and were like, you better get her. And I'm like, what do you mean I better get her? What is not like, I cannot speak for all Chinese people, but let me just speak for myself and say that what I saw was ignorant and in poor taste. But I'm not going to go after her. First of all, like that's not my job and what I'm here to do. And when does going after someone for something that they did wrong ever actually teach them a lesson? Does it really, I have young children and so I do take a lot of pride in my parenting skills. And I thought, why don't I explain to her why this could have hurt so many people? So I thought, why don't I just tell her my own immigration story? And maybe she'll understand that the slanty eyes thing can be really hurtful for a lot of people, because even when I saw it, that brought back all those memories of when I was 6 years old and people used to do that to me. And I think she got the point. I don't think we need to berate her for it. I think she got it. She gets it. She didn't mean it in a malicious way. And I really hope that we can move on from it, because I really do think she's a good person and hopefully we can be better friends in the future.
You mentioned your parenting. We saw your mom this past week. Has she watched the show at all?
Yeah, mom doesn't have cable, so
Okay, so
she doesn't have Bravo, and I'm certainly not about to text her a link on how to get it. So no, mom doesn't watch Bravo or TikTok, and I intend to keep it that way.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the TikTok. Your TikToks are so funny, and I was curious if is she even like aware that you're doing them?
She made one with me one time. I was like, Mom, all you got to do is stand here and go like this. That's it. And she was like, so she made a TikTok with me. She knows, I mean, I've shown her a few of them. I was like, remember that time I was studying for my SATs and you threw a shoe at me? And she was like, oh yeah, I remember.
Tiffany, where did you grow up at? Excuse me, should I call you Dr. Moon or?
Oh, no. Call me Tiffany.
Okay, sorry.
I grew up in Beijing for the first 6 years of my life, and then New York for another 3 years or so. We moved around a lot. And then my dad got a job in Flower Mound, Texas. So I lived there until I was 15. And then I went off to college at Cornell in upstate New York. Then back to Dallas for medical school and San Francisco for residency, and then back to Dallas where I now remain with a mortgage and 4 kids in private school. So here I shall remain.
Do you watch the other Housewives? Do you watch like Potomac?
I don't. Oh. I started watching Salt Lake City just because I wanted to, but I don't know the characters. And so when I watch season X of something and they're talking about something that used to happen, I just feel so lost. So I started watching Salt Lake City because it's new. So I feel like I can know the characters from the beginning, because I did try to watch some of the other franchises and I was so lost. I didn't know what they were talking about or referencing. And I wasn't going to go back to season 1 and restart. And I'm one of those crazy people that has to know everything that's happening. So it just drove me so nuts that I didn't understand what was happening, that I only watched Salt Lake City because it's new.
You're busy. I mean, you don't gotta go back and watch 100 seasons. But if you ever do decide, Potomac is really, really great. And I'd be so interested to get your take, because there's a Dr. Wendy on that show, and people sort of made such a huge deal about her mentioning her degrees quite a bit, and that she's a doctor. And I would love to get your take on that. If you ever watched it. You're both educated queens, though.
I follow Wendy on Instagram. She seems lovely, beautiful, educated. I don't know about the mentioning of the degrees. I mean, I've never heard her do that. And I don't know. If you have a degree, mention it occasionally. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, mention it all. I'd get t-shirts made if I was a doctor. I have some questions that people wrote in via the Everything Iconic Patreon. So Rita Ryan says, when did you meet Mama Dee, and did you guys hit it off right away?
Yes, I met Mama Dee probably 5 years ago now. She is a patient advocate at the hospital, which I work at. And our paths crossed because she was advocating for a patient who needed anesthesia services. And so we kind of got mixed in that way. And Mama Dee, she was like, who are you? You're going to be the anesthesiologist today? What are your credentials, ma'am? And I was like, ma'am, I went to Cornell, and, I gave her all the credentials because she asked for them. And then she was like, okay, we'll take you. And I was like, okay, that was kind of intense. And after that, then she was like, oh, so-and-so's having surgery. Are you working on this day? And I was like, oh, I see how it is now. But then we became friends. And then she was like, you have to meet my daughter, Deandra. Y'all would get along so well. You're both, quick-witted and snappy. And so then we started hanging out. So actually I met Mama Dee before I met Deandra. And we just started hanging out. And that was 5 years ago.
I love that. And what did she make of Deandra with the shaman? I don't know if the person was blowing something in her nose or sucking it out, but
look, I was there. I was there that night, and I still don't understand what happened. Okay.
Wait, you were there at the?
Yeah, I was there. Well, I was half asleep because it was all quiet, and they were playing this shaman meditation music, and I had worked all day, and it was very peaceful. We chanted, so I was half asleep. I still don't understand whether he was blowing in or sucking out or what the thing was. I honestly don't know.
Oh my goodness! And during a pandemic, no less.
We'll have to ask her about that one.
Okay, so Aloha La Candy. That's the name here. Did you know that Bravo viewers would become instant fans of you after using the Sheree gif in response to Stephanie trying to say she was obnoxious for showing her closet? That's an interesting thing. What did you make of Stephanie with the closet? Because she had sort of shaded you on the show and said, oh, it's inappropriate for her to be showing off her goods or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But then you had posted a video of Stephanie on BravoTV.com showing off her closet.
I mean, let's be honest. We want to see the housewives' closets, right?
I want to see everyone's closet, Tiffany.
Show, right? So my feelings were a little hurt when I saw the show for the first time, and she said that she thought I was obnoxious, because I never intended to be braggy or obnoxious. I was excited for her to come over and to show her my home. And the bag that I showed her had just been flown in, to me from Italy. I had been waiting on it for over, I think, 8 months because of the pandemic. And so I was like, honestly excited to show it to her. I was not trying to be like, oh, look at all the things I own. And I don't know, my feelings got a little hurt. And then, hurt people. So then I went on Twitter and, my Twitter fingers got all excited. And then
we love your Twitter. We love those Twitter fingers.
I'm like, during live tweet, I'm just like mad. I'm like, don't talk to me right now. Blah, blah, blah. But we worked it out. Stephanie came over 2 weekends ago. She had bubble tea for the very first time, and she said that she liked it. And I apologized for my tweets, and she apologized for her tweets, and we hugged it out, and everything is kumbaya.
She seems like someone who'd be very difficult to stay mad at, because I always just imagine her as just like a sweet, innocent person. Not to say she doesn't have a shady side to her, because obviously we've seen that a little bit on the show.
Yeah. And I get that, sometimes you say things like to say them to get a rise out of people. And then later you're like, probably I shouldn't have said that. Like, we've all done that, except most of us don't have to reconcile it, 6 months later. So it's all water under the bridge. She is the sweetest person. And look, this is small fry for, issues that are happening in our world. This closet obnoxiousness, is small fry.
That's kind of a little bit what I'm enjoying about Real Housewives of Dallas this season is I like those little arguments that are very relatable, I think, to all of us watching at home that are about a closet. Or I'm not saying your closet's relatable because mine's a little shoe closet, but those little arguments instead of the bigger, crazier things. I don't know if that made any sense.
Yes, I think it does. These kinds of things don't harm your friendship in the long run. Like, you can get over these kinds of things. But when you say certain things about people's, marriages or children or something like that, those are the kind of hurtful things that you may not be able to take back. I think that's what you were trying to continue. Is that right?
Right. And is there anyone that has gone below the belt in a way that you feel like is, at least as of right now, something you can't get over? The snake thing with Carrie, do you feel like you guys are able to go forward?
I hope that we will be. I did not know that she was going to say that. And, I can work things out with anyone any day, but I do not take kindly to being called a snake on social media, especially while you're trying to promote a product of yours. Like, what are you doing? Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I main tweeted back at that because I wasn't going to stand there and be called a snake. For what even? I still don't understand what the reference is for. So I decided to turn that negative into a positive and donate the cost of her little necklace to the SPCA instead.
I saw that. That was a great response. What do we have to look forward to on the show? What's to come? Is Brandy taking any more vacations in the midst of a pandemic or what?
I sure hope not. No, no more vacations.
I can't get over that, Tiffany. I feel like it was frustrating. I was like, I've been sitting at home and I know people get mad at me because I talk about, the protocols and everything when watching these shows. But that to me was just so frustrating. She's like, I'm going to Florida. I'm thinking, I don't understand that. Why are you going to Florida now?
Yeah, that was nothing to do with me.
I know.
It was booked before, we were supposed to start the show and the date had moved and yada yada, and it was what it was. And she maintained proper precautions. But I agree with you.
I would have been frustrated. And I would have been frustrated, like watching that party where you said she had to wear all the protocol. But I felt almost bad, and maybe there's just something I'm missing, but there were people that were working at that party that I felt like, and there were moments we saw her drunk and kind of making fun with the face shields, and I don't know, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, and I apologize, and people are going to be mad at me for overanalyzing all of it.
No. There's been some criticism of the way that, that was handled. And all I can say is that at the time we were doing the best that we could, getting done the work that we needed to get done.
Right.
But I agree with you. It was incredibly frustrating. And I myself have canceled, I don't know, like 9 trips. American Airlines owes me like $30,000. No, seriously, they won't give it back to me. It's just like in voucher format. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Those vouchers are the worst.
I was supposed to go to Hawaii, Prague, San Francisco, Grand Cayman. Yeah. So I have a lot of, if anyone wants to hang out, I have a lot of voucher money.
A lot of miles.
In American Airlines right now.
And
would love to see you all.
And you know what? A lot of people are traveling and stuff. So that's the reality. We're watching a documentary reality show. That's the reality of what's going on in some ways. So, so what's to come? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. There will be more fights. There will be more tears. I will not be the only person who was pushed into a swimming pool. There will be actual moments of reflection and true friendships, and growth.
I'm excited. It feels like this season is almost a refresh. It's been exciting so far. I think it's been really good. I've been enjoying it. So thank you so much. Finally, I just have a couple questions I ask every guest. If your favorite Mariah Carey song?
Ooh, Hero.
A classic ballad.
I used to figure skate to that song. So.
Oh my God, were you a figure skater too?
Yes, not a very good one, but yes.
Oh my God, I love that. And if you were choosing for People Magazine Sexiest Man Alive, who would you choose?
Besides my husband?
You can't choose your husband. It's got to be like a famous actor, musician,
I like the guy from Crazy Rich Asians. Not the Harry Golding guy, but Chris Pang.
Not Henry Gold. Chris Pang, yeah. He's gorgeous.
Yes, and I met him, and he's super sweet. He was dating my friend. He's very handsome.
Love that. Also, did you have an AOL Instant Messenger screen name?
Oh my gosh, it was Spiffy Tiffy.
Spiffy Tiffy. Where did that come from?
Because Tiffy, and I'm so spiffy, and I was like 13 when I made it, so I thought it sounded cool. And now you're bringing back all these memories. You know that door closing sound, like when someone leaves the chat room, and then you get in the chat and bling.
The best. I miss those days. Take me back.
Oh my God. Okay, this is the last thing. Remember when dial-up was a thing, and then you'd have to log onto the internet, and it'd be like, and then you'd be connected to the internet, and then my mom would come in, and she'd be like, Tiffany, you got to get off the internet. I have to make a phone call, because that was like on the phone line. See, now I'm telling my true age.
It opens up a door. Have you seen that show Pen 15? They have a whole episode about AOL Instant Messenger. It's great.
No, I haven't seen any shows because I don't watch TV.
I know. Well, I get it. You're busy. No,
I just fall asleep.
Yeah. What do you want to promote? Anything you want to tell us? I know you have a line of candles and stuff.
Yes,
so tell us all about that.
I would love to. Thank you for asking. I have a line of aromasthesia candles, which is a blend between aromatherapy and anesthesia. And they are all named after commonly used anesthesia drugs. And so this is the 4-pack.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. And we
So
have single
they're scented then. They're scented.
Yes, they have different
Okay.
scents and different anesthesia drug names and quirky little drug facts on the back, like
Love
indications for use. On this one, it says, if anyone has ever told you that you have a resting bitch face, like you should use this candle, because people tell me that all the time. And then we have single packs as well. And then last but not least, for Valentine's Day, my husband actually designed this for me. But it's a heart entwined with a circle, and it's called Eternal Love, to represent the love that we should all have for one another. And I'm going to make a Valentine's Day promo for that. And all of the proceeds for all of these items go to the family place, except I put $1,400 of it to the SPCA, because I had to do that, to
clap back. Right.
Yeah. But the rest of the proceeds will go to the family place, which is a organization that I'm involved in that helps victims of domestic violence.
And that's a cause that's very important to you?
It is. It's near and dear to my heart. I've had personal experience with it, which I have not shared before, but it is a cause that's very near and dear to my heart.
Is it something we might see you share on the show, or are you kind of
not this
Right.
season? Yeah, it's a little dark, and I don't know, just one of those things that don't want to go there yet.
Yeah. It's interesting with these shows. I had Stephanie on this podcast a long time ago when she had been opening up about her depression. And sometimes those dark things, her story on the show made me feel like not alone. And so sometimes these things can be so helpful, but also I understand how tough they can be to open up about. So, but Tiffany, I've loved getting to know you on the show. I look forward to it. Where can people find you, and where can people find that stuff? I love a candle too, so I'm going to go get some candles when we're done.
I will send you a candle, honey. I am on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Tiffany Moon MD, just all one long word. And my website is tiffanymoonmd.com. And there I have the candles, scrub caps, face masks, and the Eternal Love necklace.
Well, thank you so much. I want to tell everyone thank you for listening here at Everything Iconic. If you're watching this video on the YouTube channel, go like, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff below. You can get Everything Iconic merch at everythingiconic.store. Tiffany, thank you so much. Best of luck for the rest of the season. I can't wait to keep watching.
Thank you so much, Danny. It was wonderful talking to you.
Bye. All my love.